Welcome to the epic outdoor gym. There's so many updates in today's vlog, both indoors and outdoors, but primarily outdoors because the theme of today's episode is preparing the backyard for the new shed. Kevin Espiritu here from Epic Gardening. Check it out. This is the outdoor gym. We're in a time in which most of the gyms are closed anyways. Now the cool thing about this one, squat rack comes down like this. And so I can push it flat up against the wall when I'm not using it, and when I want to use it, I can just start repping out some squats and or any other exercise and try to get myself back in shape. But that's really something I was so excited about, was to have an area of the homestead where I could work on my physical health. Gardening, doing all that stuff, perfectly fine, great low effort way, but sometimes you got to put in some actual work, and that's what this is for. A couple other cool additions. Some spotter arms here so that if I, which is probably gonna happen, end up having to drop the weight, it'll drop on these spotter arms. I've got some mobility bands, I've got my weight rack here, and then over here, I've got the thing I really need help with. So being 6'4" and 200 something pounds, it's a little more than something too. My pull strength isn't good. I used to rock climb a lot, and so this is something that I'm really excited about. Honestly, just doing some dead hangs for posture, but also pulling out some pull-ups with a little bit of effort. It's gonna be great. Next up, a couple updates on the grow bag garden and the shed. So first of all, the grow bag garden is in mostly shade. It's like a part shade garden 24/7, and that's contributing to a couple things. A little bit slower growth than I would like, but also think about it, hot temperatures, water, and shade. It's a recipe for what? Mosquitoes, which you guys know I've been dealing with. So I have to move this anyways to prepare for the new shed, which is getting put in just a few days. This shed has to go, so I think while I build out the rest of the front yard garden, this might actually move up to the front yard and I'll get irrigation plugged in over there. So hopefully that keeps the mosquito pressure down and the growth will go way up on these. But we have to talk about what's actually going in the front yard garden. Today we have a busy day. We have FedEx coming with the birdies beds for the front yard. At long last, I've actually gotten my own birdies beds. These are the ones I sell on the Epic Gardening store, straight out of Australia, the #1 product in Australia. It took me a while to get them because I put myself on my own wait list and I had to prioritize customers over my own beds. So I have them here in the garden. Now let me show you some of the new models that I'm really excited to put in the front yard because it's a mix and match of shapes and sizes that I think will work really well. So this first bed, the one that I'm literally in right now, is the tall 8-in-1 bed. It's got some bracing bars here. It holds quite a bit of soil, almost 60 cubic feet of soil, a little over 2 yards of soil. So this is gonna be the mainstay where you guys have seen my front yard raised bed that's a little bit lower, made out of wood. This one's going to supplant that one, but within, I've got the birdies tree surround. So this is gonna go around all of the trees in the orchard, which pretty soon I'm gonna have to start tackling that because you wanna put your fall trees in fall. You wanna put your orchard in fall when the roots can actually start to establish and they don't have to worry about forcing fruit or dealing with all sorts of weird temperature stress. So this guy's eventually going out, the tree surrounds are going out, and a couple of the other models are going out. So pretty soon here on the channel, you'll see the front yard garden, much like the old Epic garden at my old place. So I'm sitting here now on about a 50-foot long pile of mulch. It's a mixture of fruit trees, pine, chips, logs, and I've also got some compost. This compost that you see here was brought to me by Brigitte over at San Diego Seed Company, but it comes from the local landfill, which sounds bad, but the surprising fact about that is this compost is often held to a higher standard than many bag mixes. Now, not all bag mixes, of course. There's some fantastic bag mixes that I know, love, and promote, but if you go to the local municipality, you can fill a truckload up of this for $0. And if they fill it up for you, it's $12 for over a yard. It doesn't really matter the size. It's just the size of whatever you're putting in a truck. And so I've got a ton of mulch to spread to do some sheet mulching on the areas of the yard that I'm not going to be attacking for a while. And then I also have a ton of this amazing, amazing compost that I can start mixing in to native soil and topsoil to build all of the soil that's going to go in the raised beds. So Brigitte is here. As you heard, she brought over $12 truckload of compost from the local landfill, which actually, you're saying, oftentimes held to a higher standard than bag mix.
Yep, really good stuff. Lots of regulations.
Yeah.
You know, it's a city-run operation, so there's a lot of people watching what they're doing. It's great stuff.
Okay, and then the caution is it's great stuff, but it's very fine textured, and it's usually running a little hot because it's still breaking down.
Totally. This stuff, if you stick your hand in the middle of it, you're going to feel hot.
Yeah.
It's warm.
Okay, so what we're doing here is, although you could mix this in with topsoil and create a nice raised bed mix straight out of the gate, this is already a raised bed mix, and quite frankly, based on what's left, only the basil has survived, so I think it probably needs a little bit more nutrition. These are pretty hardy. So what are we doing here?
So we can add this, there's a couple different options. You can mix it in to your existing bed. You also can use it as a top dressing, almost as a mulch. And when you water it, it's gonna kind of crust and really hold in the moisture. What's important to know is that stuff like this it tends to be hydrophobic. So the first time you water it, it'll look like it went through, but then you stick your finger in.
It's bone dry.
Totally. So you just gotta take your time, drink a beer, whatever, and stand there with your hose and really get the moisture all the way through. And then it will keep more moisture in, which is really important right now in our hot weather.
Yeah, I always say if you have a hydrophobic mulch, you just water it, moisten the top, wait, move on to another bed, come back and do it again.
Yep, patience is key.
Okay, cool. So in this case, maybe we'll mix it in just because why not?
Totally.
So we're just gonna throw a couple shovelfuls on and then get it in there.
Another thing that's great is it looks really nice. Look how dark that is.
It's got that nice, it has
looks
that nice
beautiful.
texture
I mean, it's very picturesque, right?
Totally. So I'll start pulling it across the bed. And this is great because this bed actually, guys, is gonna be moving to the backyard as sort of a shady, sort of ornamental kitchen herb style garden. And so this soil is just gonna condition for a little bit, which is great, right? I mean, we can just let it work its way down. And then when I move all this soil, it'll be in a really good spot for fall, winter. So if I'm mixing it in, I'm going maybe 2-3 inches, right? Nothing crazy?
Nothing crazy. If you have soil that's pretty terrible, you really want to mix in 3 or 4 inches of this if possible. What I see happen a lot is people get raised beds, they will buy a raised bed mix from, lots of different places. And it's a good filler.
It's very woody too.
Or it can be very sandy. I've seen that it's just like a lot of sand. And so it's really lacking that other component, which is all the organic matter that you get in something like compost. So it's just a really good idea to, if you go to the Miramar Greenery and you get a truckload, even if you don't need it all, keep it on hand, and you can mix it into your beds every season when you change over from one crop to another.
Like as we are right now with fall to summer to fall. Ooh, got some nice fungal growth going on.
Look at that. That's gorgeous. That mycelium.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, I just disrupted it, but that's okay.
It'll
come back.
It'll keep growing.
And then after this, for someone who's, just amending their first bed, let's say, for the first year of gardening, am I watering it in? I'm letting it rest for a week or two in a perfect world, right? I'm inoculating it maybe.
So if you have, let's say this bed's empty, and you're filling it, you went and got raised bed mix, and then you listened to our advice, got some compost, mixed it in as on top of what else you have in there. I would water it really well, and then I would let it rest because it's so hot, it's still breaking down. And it also might take you 3 or 4 times of watering it before you feel like you really got water all the way through it. A lot of times what I tell people... It's a very
frustrating part for a beginner gardener, I think.
Totally. I tell people, very beginning gardeners, if you have a brand new bed, you filled it up, you're all excited, what you should do is put your hose on like barely a drip. Put it in the bed, go do laundry, whatever you need to do, set an alarm on your phone, come back maybe in like an hour. Maybe 2 hours. Move it. So that way you really saturate it all the way through. It's so important.
This is the case where maybe an overhead watering tool would work, right? Because it's just pressing it over time.
As long as it's, really getting the whole bed moist. I always tell people that, think of this as a really big sponge. And if you had a sponge this big and you only got the corner of it wet, well then it's just going to dry out immediately. But if the whole sponge is sopping wet, it's going to hold on to moisture a lot longer. So don't be scared. The first couple times you start planting in that raised bed with your new soil, really make sure there's moisture all the way down.
Perfect. We're here now in an almost completed version of Dragon Alley. These actually do need a little bit of water. So I've got red Jana right here. I'm seeing some tip growth come out, but what I'm waiting for, I have some cuttings over in the backyard, and I want one on each of these sides. So some of these varieties have 4 on each of them, so I will have enough to actually grow. These ones, I'm still waiting for those cuttings to root up, so I'm still keeping them nice and well watered. Down the line, I would say in about 10 or 12 months or so, you're gonna see this growing up. You're gonna not see a whole lot of the wooden fence post, and you're instead hopefully gonna see a ton of amazing dragon fruits. I'm really, really excited about the progress of Dragon Alley. Welcome to probably the last time you'll see this shed in this condition. This has to come down. It's 5 days away from building the new shed where the team comes out. I still haven't actually located and leveled out that area, so I'm on a bit of a crunch time. But I wanna demo this shed over the weekend, and I think some portion of the new shed will overlap this. So as you can see, I've been using it as makeshift storage. I got a lot of stuff I gotta either garage sale out, donate, and or use, and or I don't know, there's just too much stuff. And so downsizing a little bit. What we're gonna do is demo this shed. The new shed will be in a separate episode, but now I wanna talk about some awesome updates in the world of solar, roofing, and HVAC. Super hot day today, guys. Well, also because I'm wearing full normal human being clothes. But the shed is empty. Let me walk you in the old shed. Effectively empty. You can see I'm excited to not have to hit my head on this anymore. So I'm gonna start the tear down, some electrical in here, but there's no actual power running to it. It looks like most of this was constructed via nail, and I don't exactly know. I'm gonna have to get the pry bar out and like really start going on it. So we'll see. This gotta get done in the next day or two, and I have to level the ground for the future site, and I have to pick the future site. So a lot of work to do. Stay tuned. So it's gonna take a lot more effort than I thought to tear that shed down. So what I thought I would do is, at the very least, clear out the area where the new shed will go. So this back area right here, which is under these big pepper trees. Let me show orientation here. So that's the back of the garage. You guys remember the garage from our polyaspartic coating. Still looks amazing. So when we go back here, I want the shed to be right in this zone, maybe 5 feet off this fence here. So it'll be here. When I come out of the back patio, it's gonna be a total mess, but you'll hopefully see the vision here. Let's see, coming out of the back patio. So I'm walking, here I am, walking out. Maybe hardscape will go here at some point in the future, but this area, this back zone, the grow bag garden will move, probably hardscape here, connecting to the shed. Boom, shed sitting right here. I think that'll be really nice. Okay, I've set the area so where it's gonna be. You've got this to here, out to there, those two posts right there. So just for a better perspective, right about there is where the new shed will go, and I would estimate it would top out somewhere around there. So kind of a nice little shaded backdrop area where I can store stuff. In this side here, it's about a 5 foot offset here. This one, it's not 5 feet, it's a little less, but I wanted to time it up or match it up to the pavers here, because I'm probably gonna try to level to some degree this area with rest of these pavers. All right, so we're starting to shovel out. I think the play is to keep these pavers. We'll see. I might just remove them and throw down some gravel and actually just compact the gravel down so it's nice and level, because it seems a little bit wasteful to spend a lot of money on pavers that I'm just going to cover up if I can put these level surface down. And the shed comes with these broad beams that are rated 40 years, so they should sit level provided I compact. But right now it's about getting this little grade down. Right there is pretty high, so I got to shovel out probably like a yard or two of dirt over the course of this. So let's get back to it. Hopefully we get a good quote. About 12, 15 years lifespan on a flat roof, and mine's sitting at about 10 right now. So if I do solar on top of it, dumb move. You got to replace the roof. And what you can do is you can wrap in your roof with your solar, so you get this combo deduction, because it's 26% rebate on solar this year in California, 2020. And so if I can wrap in the roof with that, just think, let's say the roof costs $10,000, I've saved $2,600 on my roof as well. So get a new roof for effectively, it depends on where you apply those costs, but if you take the 26% off the solar and the roof, and then just applied it directly to the roof, which is some funky accounting, you get over half off your roof, which is fantastic. And you know, just something that needs to happen, big expense, but this is what I've been saving up for, so let's go ahead and get it done. Good morning. We're sitting here the day before the shed build out. You can see some progress has been made. Still got to lay down a little bit of a gravel pad here, but I wanted to give you an update on solar, roofing, and the mini split AC system, all kind of tied together in some way. You know, I want HVAC because the mini split can be run as AC, but also as a heater. You can just run that in reverse, which is really cool. But of course it'll be electric, and thus the solar will power it. So what happened there? Well, I talked with my friend Ben. That was a video on the channel. And it really comes down to price per watt and the quality of the company. So I went through a bunch of different quotes on a bunch of different companies, eventually settled on one that I really, really like. There's no nonsense, just gives you the price, doesn't have all these crazy sales techniques, which, you know, for me, that's what I like. And we went with a 4.62 kilowatt hour production system up on top. So it'll be 14 panels on top, pushed towards the north side of the house because, as you can see, I'm sitting under some trees that block a little bit of the south sun. So we put it in an area where it's going to be getting sun more or less all day, all year long, which is exactly what we want. But to do that, we had to get a roof. When I say we, I really just mean me. I had to get a roof. The roof's not in a condition where I could actually put solar on it. But you can wrap part of the price of that roof into the solar because you get a 26% solar credit here in California, which is really great because you get a 26% solar credit if you build your panels this year in 2020. So that's great because part of the roof as well as the solar will get a 26% rebate, saves me a little bit of money, and it makes that per watt price go down, down, down. So we're sitting somewhere around $2 to $2.20 per watt. I'll do a full breakdown in a future solar video. But I'm excited. I mean, I'm going to get a new roof. This roof is 10 years old. Flat roofs have maybe a lifespan of 20 years or so. So I'm getting a new warranted 20-year lifespan flat roof, including the garage and this back awning over here, and solar. And we're doing the mini split AC system. I was going to DIY this, but honestly, it's a little intense of a process for me to DIY with the way I want to do it because I want to have one outdoor compressor into 4 air handlers, one in the kitchen, one in the living room, one in the office, and one in the bedroom, and to wind like the refrigeration lines around the house in such a manner. Not really my skill set. I will let the pros do it, and I think it would cost me more in time than it's going to in money, given that I've never done something like that before. So anyways, I figured I would come out and wrap up the vlog out here in the future site of the shed. Now, a little sneak peek on the shed. What I could have and maybe should have done is put down a proper gravel frame here. I'm not going to have time to do that before the build out tomorrow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to level out this ground here. You can see a little higher over there. We're going to have to probably put some retaining wall or something at some point later. But the shed that I'm having built is on skids. And so if I want to, I can just pull it this way, put down a proper foundation, and then forklift it back on top of that foundation. But the wait list is crazy on these sheds, and so I'd rather have it built, spend a little bit of extra time, maybe a little extra money just moving it and moving it back, than wait another 2 months to get it built, because as you can see, there's quite a bit of debris at this place because I have nowhere to put anything because there's just not enough space, and so the shed has to exist, and that's what I have to get to today. So with that said, I'm going to leave this vlog, close it out. Thanks so much for bearing with me. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry about the lack of video updates lately. It's just been a little bit crazy, and I feel like I needed a little bit of a break from going so aggressive on posting videos this spring and this summer. So until next time, good luck in the garden and keep on growing.